Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Power Tips, and today we're excited to dive into Power Virtual Agents right on the heels of Microsoft Build, where they made some substantial and very exciting announcements. So I am really, really enthused about this topic because and I keep saying this as we talk about any AI-related things, it just continues to blow my mind at how seamless all of this technology is being woven together. So really excited to get into the topic, and I think I'm going to hand it over to Heidi to get us started.
All right. So I'm going to talk about one of the big things they talked about, Build. It's also in the release notes. It's GPT Generative AI in bots. This is some seriously cool stuff. I don't think I've been shy in public speaking stuff when talking about Power Platform that I can't find the love for Power Virtual Agents. I find them really cumbersome to build, extremely complicated. It's like you need to know another language that's different from all the other languages in order to build them. Well, with this, you don't need to know anything about Power Virtual Agents. So there's no manual topic generation, no expression writing, no conditionals, nothing. There are two prerequisites to use this, and this is only in preview. There's no GA date yet, so I have no idea when it's going to be live, but your bot has to be created in the US, and the only supported language during preview is English. So I know that stinks for some of you. I'm sorry, but it's really neat. One other thing I want to point out that we don't know anything about is the pricing. I mean, there's a cost to this magic, and I can't wait to see what it is. So I made an example of a recipe bot so we could show it here, but I thought it would be cooler if we actually build it. So we are at Power Virtual Agents. You can spin up a demo for free. I'll toss a link in for where you can do that. And it's as simple as clicking create a bot here. So what do we want to do for our bot? Should we do recipe bot again or something different?
You did that one. What if we did?
Let's do
I was gonna say,
MLB bot. You two had that baseball thing.
oh yes,
All right, MLB.com. So again, all I'm doing is putting in a URL. It says, let your bot create responses in real time with generative answers and information from a website you choose. Note that it's preview. You can't do this on a live bot just yet. So all
that's
you have to do is enter that URL, and it's going to take like a minute or two to set up our bot. So what are your initial thoughts on this like sort of functionality? Is it too much magic?
just really quick to call out for those who aren't familiar. MLB is Major League Baseball, just in case you're not a sports enthusiast. So that's what we're doing, and Heidi was referencing Kylie and I did a series a long time ago around baseball related stuff in the Power Platform as a topic to build out some solutions. So that's what we're talking about there. As for what I think about this, I think I opened with how fascinated I am. So Kylie, I'm curious your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've built a bot, and it took forever for it to provision and set up and do the thing that just happened in 1 second. And that wasn't even including all of the topics and the generative AI. So I think this is super cool. I think we have to remember there'll be certain requirements of the website that you use. Like it does need to be publicly accessible and needs
Yes.
to have a sitemap and those type of things. So I can't use it to build off of my internal SharePoint, for example. But um,
Mm-hmm.
but
And I
I
think
think
I
this is
might not
awesome.
be patient enough to wait for this to fully provision. So you know it's not ready when it gives you, I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to help with that. Can you try rephrasing?
But I
But what I
love that
like
it's
is that it kind of like
go ahead.
populates all of this all on its
Yeah.
own. So you can see it's doing the string text, it's giving you the answers, ending the topics. Pretty neat. Oh, that's a error to have in a live demo.
I mean, that's the nature of live demos, and it's also the nature of preview features, right? I think that's one thing to
Yeah.
call out as things are coming out and new, they're subject to change and subject to quirky behavior. So
And
entirely fair.
also, I don't know if MLB.com is a good URL. Maybe I should have tested that first. Um, so I did something like this recently. So I'm going to do a trail finder bot. Alltrails.com. Alltrails.com is really cool. It searches the location where you are and it gives you some cool hiking trails that you can check out. And this one I know will work, so we can take a look at that. You are waiting, so there's this little toggle here, track between topics, and I've noticed this stays kind of grayed out until your bot's provisioned and able to work. Boom, so that should work. If I wasn't zoomed in, there'd be a little banner that lets you know. Are there any trails near Philadelphia? Yay. Too soon again. Oh, there we go. Yes,
Oh,
there
look
are
at that.
several
Awesome.
trails near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Here are the best. You can say, are any of these rated 4.5 or higher? And then again, we can track between topics and kind of track that conversation, which is pretty neat. Yes, the Wissahickon Valley Park Trail is 4.5. Check it out here. And then you can start to see it, which
That's
is
really
pretty
cool.
neat. And look at all the stuff that this did on its own. And again, I did nothing, like absolutely nothing, just gave it a URL.
So let's ask it something along the lines of, I'd like to go there. Can you give me directions? And what I'm hoping to see is that it doesn't necessarily know where your starting point is, so it should ask you, which is a fascinating feature.
What did you mean?
I'd like to visit. Can you give me
Mm,
none of those?
that's interesting. Good question.
Yeah, so it's the handling of what do you do
Yeah.
if it doesn't work, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so the rephrasing, right? I'd like to visit that trail. I can't even say the word, so maybe copy it. I'd like to visit. Can you give me driving directions? Just being a little more specific. And again, what I'm hoping for, and what was shown in the demo at Build, which was really quite fascinating. The individual is building a travel, right, a cruise ship. Oh, there you go. 10 best trails there. It's giving you more details. Interesting. They were building a travel bot, and as she built it, she asked about cruises, and it knew that it was missing where she was departing from. And so it actually formulated the question back to her, because she said, okay, great, I want to do that one. And it said, awesome, where are you departing from? Because it could identify, we're missing a key variable. In order to tell you how much it's going to cost and how to get there, we need to know where you're departing from. So it asked her the question, she responded, it plugged that variable in, extracted the variable from her sentence. So it wasn't just a one-word answer. It was, I think she said, I'd like to leave. I think I'll leave from Miami. It extracted Miami, put it in,
Yeah.
and then formulated it, which was that to me. It's that's the stuff in all of this technology that is just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, unfortunately it's not working, but I saw the same demo and it's fascinating.
What I don't know is how this gets combined with like standard knowledge, right? So driving directions would be standard things that I can do online or that OpenAI should probably be able to do, at least tell me distance and things like that. But is this only looking at what's on the website and not combining that with other information, or how does it work? That's what I'm not sure about.
Good questions.
Yeah, and I will note, if we click this Go to AI capabilities back on the overview page, you can add multiple websites. I mean, I wouldn't expect to have to add like
Maps or something.
maps.google.com on here,
Yeah.
but you can add additional websites here to kind of make it better.
Yeah. It's
All
still
right.
and so for the purposes of this, obviously it's never great when you try a demo and it doesn't work. But that for those of you who are like, I don't even know where to start, this is where to start. Like, just plug in, go to the trial, spin it up, plug something in, and if it doesn't work, tinker with it, trial it. Your call out, Heidi, about maybe MLB.com isn't the right site. That could be it. It could just be that the website's off. All right.
Yeah.
And so you plug the correct website in there. Now, for the record, I do think you're right. I'm pretty confident that is the website. But even still, if perhaps it's got to be something, if we had gone a little more detailed, like MLB.com/scores, that maybe would have been a more direct route to get to be able to derive the scores of last night, right? To answer the first question. So it's that kind of stuff that if you're not familiar, that's what we hear all the time. People are like, there's just so much available, I don't know where to start. And to me, this is exactly where you start, and how you get familiar with it is just trial and error and see what works. And clicking through the options to say, when a few examples ago, Heidi got a post that said, did you mean this, or none of these?
Hmm.
Interact with those buttons because that's what helps it learn even more, right? So super
Yeah.
cool stuff.
I'm going to point out one more thing because I didn't notice this before. Upload a document coming soon. Upload a document to power real-time responses to users. This document will be stored securely and used as data source for dynamically generated responses. That opens the door to kind of using your own corporate messaging to power part of the bot. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
All right. I think we've
Cool.
talked enough about this.
That's a good start. Anyways, I'm sure we'll see more.
Yeah, and so when it didn't know the answer and it had said, do you want lesson 1, lesson 2, or none of these, those were other topics, right? And so what we built, or what was just built with the generative AI was a topic using that web page, right, to get more information. But you can also create your own topics that can guide users through a specific process, right? Now with Copilot, I believe this is in preview. I think there is a date for general availability, but I, of course, did not write it down. That would have been helpful. But you can use Copilot to help you create those topics. So previously, you would have to configure all of the trigger words and you would have to build that whole topic out. But now you could just in Copilot be like, I want a topic that will, like their example here, like summarize information and then ask them next steps, and you can describe that in Copilot and it could build that new topic and you can keep using Copilot to help build each step of that bot. So I think this will be really interesting and great way to build on top of the AI stuff we just looked at. What do
Yeah,
you
I
guys
do
think?
too. It's making it so much more accessible to this tech. But my big question is, how much is this going to cost? And what's the
Yeah.
difference between the Copilot versus the AI generative AI versus whatever else is going to roll out?
Yeah, there are a
Yeah, that's
few questions there because is it stuff that only I as a maker use and does that have a cost? And then is it stuff that will impact users like the
Hmm.
I can't say the word. The stuff we were just looking at, that's actually going to be using stuff that'll be as users are interacting. So I think there's potentially two different cost
Mm,
models associated with that.
cool.
cool. The other thing that I don't know if this is the last topic. Did we have one more, or is this it?
One more.
One more. Okay, go ahead. Let's go with that because I have one more thing if we have time.
More cool
Yeah,
things.
last thing I had here was now you can use PowerFX in your authoring canvas. So previously, if you were working with your variables and stuff, you might have to go to Power Automate to do things, or you might not be able to do the action that you want to do, or things were just not quite as seamless and weren't the same as working in other tools. But now you're going to be able to use PowerFX right within your PVA authoring, and you can even access connectors directly. So you wouldn't need to go to Power Automate to connect with another data source, but you could do it all directly within PVA.
Very cool.
Good
So
stuff.
cool. Malcolm, take it away.
It was just to throw out the link, and it's more on the Copilot front. After some of the announcements were coming out, and shortly on the heels of that, you start to see some blog posts and stuff from people. And a friend of ours, M. Darcy, I think I know you both know her, has provided a great summary of the considerations from a governance perspective on some of the Copilot stuff. So we'll link that in the video down below, and I encourage you to have a quick look because governance is one of those things that should always be top of mind, but I think sometimes it gets left behind a little bit in as organizations are developing, especially when you start going down these exciting paths with new features. That's a sort of governance concern or thought goes to the wayside, it seems sometimes,
Mhm.
and it really can't. It needs to stay at the forefront. So a great article by M there. So many thanks to her for putting that out there, and we'll link it so you can give it a read.
Yeah, that's a really good call out. It's like when app making became more accessible, and app makers, citizen developers popped up all over the place, and everyone made their own little Canvas apps, and no one had a centralized database. Not everyone. I'm sure you listening and watching didn't do that, but some
Probably.
people did, and it became a mess for organizations to climb out of. And yeah, there's a lot of questions with this stuff, and I don't know the answers. Like all that cool stuff we just did with generative AI, where does that go in my Dataverse? Where
Right.
does this get stored? Does it get stored? How do I access it? How do I run analytics?
Yeah, I think
Agreed.
that's the first question with any of these Copilot features. Is it in a solution? And what's the publisher prefix? And
NEW.
and if the answer is I don't know, we have a problem.
Fair. Awesome. Well, good topics, good discussion. As always, more exciting stuff coming out. Love that we do these because it forces our hand a little bit in making sure that we're staying in tune with what's coming out, and never a dull moment on the horizon of what's coming up next. So hope to see you again at the next one, and let us know comments of topics you'd like to see in the future here on Power Tips. Thanks, everybody.